location in Connecticut. The human remains found in Greenwich the other day have been identified as a missing woman from Westchester County.
Police in Greenwich today identifying the body found inside a suitcase.
A week of anxiety and hope, now a day of despair.
And Bill and Liz, the grief, as you can well imagine, runs very, very deep here.
I just hope they catch whoever did it so this doesn't happen again.
Hey you and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this video we're going to look at the tragic case of Valerie Reyes. Valerie Reyes from New York disappeared on January 28, 2019. Tragically, her body was found in a suitcase 8 days later, 14 miles from her apartment. The most disturbing thing about this case, however, and it already is an incredibly tragic one, is that much like previous cases we've covered, such as the disappearance of Lara Smithank and Emma Filipoff, Valerie Reyes predicted her own death. Let's take a look at the disturbing case of Valerie Reyes. "24-year-old Valerie Reyes worked at Barnes & Noble in Scarsdale, New York. She was described as someone who didn't look for trouble, very close with her family. Valerie did at times, however, suffer from anxiety and depression, and late on January 28th, Valerie phoned her mother, Norma Sanchez. She had a hard time speaking. It seemed like she was having some kind of panic or anxiety attack at the time, but she was claiming that someone was going to kill her. Now, no one had any reason to believe that Valerie would be targeted by, well, anyone. In fact, she had spent the previous day with her family and they had a great time, reportedly. She was a nice, quiet person who never got involved in any trouble. It was very strange. Valerie had broken up with her boyfriend 5 days previous, but when her mother asked if that had something to do with it, she claimed no, nothing. Valerie said, "I'm scared, I'm paranoid, I'm getting anxiety attacks." There was no one in particular threatening her, but she could not shake the fear that she was going to be murdered.
Did somebody mention to her, somebody's out to get you or something?
Her mother tried to calm her down and extract more information. She asked if there was someone at her house, but she got no answer. And after the call, she said goodnight with a text message saying, "I'm feeling better, Mama." And that was the last time anyone heard from Valerie. The next day, she did not show up for work at Barnes & Noble, and her mother notified the police that her daughter was missing. After she did not report to work and was declared missing, a friend on Twitter said she had last seen Valerie near the New Rochelle train station, leading investigators to believe she was not in the local area. On January 30th, it was revealed that Valerie was in New York City. A surveillance camera had recorded her at a Chase Bank branch near Radio City Music Hall in New York City at 6:30 a.m. She did not respond to text messages, and calls to her cell phone went directly to voicemail, suggesting it was turned off. Pictures were sent out across New York City, but no one claimed to have seen her.
Police in Greenwich today identifying the body found inside a suitcase as missing 24-year-old Valerie Reyes.
Yeah, she disappeared from New Rochelle last week. And right now, as we just showed you, that vigil is being held for that woman as police continue to search for her killer.
Eyewitness News reporter Tim.
On a Tuesday, 8 days after Valerie's phone call to her mother, highway workers in Greenwich, Connecticut found a red suitcase. Inside was Valerie. It was found on the side of a quiet residential road in Greenwich, Connecticut, about 14 miles from Valerie's apartment. She was fully clothed and had been bound at the wrists and ankles. One of the workers who found her was caught taking photos of the body and the crime scene, and was placed on paid administrative leave. The Greenwich police, leading an investigation that involves at least 3 police departments, did not announce any leads or suspects.
It's always sensitive to us that every time we have a tragedy such as this, there's a family connected to it, and we always try to keep that forethought in our minds.
The medical examiner's office said the cause of death, it couldn't be determined, and that it could take weeks to find out what killed her. Police are unsure of where Reyes was killed, but said they had reason to believe she was murdered elsewhere and dumped at the site. A retired NYPD lieutenant commander believes that Valerie Reyes' killer may have intentionally separated the crime scenes in order to confuse investigators. The killer wanted to complicate the investigation and separate himself from the event by jurisdiction, he said. We still don't know how, why, or where she was killed. Several items were also found to be missing from Reyes' apartment, including an iPhone, an iPad, her wallet, several items of clothing and bedsheets. Was there someone else with her? What happened to all her stuff? Was there someone with her the whole time, who was even in the apartment the night she called, but who just wasn't caught on surveillance cameras when she went to New York City? Why did she go to New York City? And how did she get from New York City to Connecticut only to end up in a suitcase? The police, they have no suspects at the moment, though if she was in a mega city like New York and suffering from paranoia and anxiety, she would be extremely vulnerable. So the list of people who could have done this could literally be anybody in New York. The police at the moment, they have no suspects. The ex-boyfriend has been cleared. She didn't seem to be someone who had any enemies, just someone who suffered from some kind of nervous mental breakdown of some kind due to anxiety, stress, depression maybe, and ended up in a suitcase, dead, fully clothed, bound, and killed by someone we don't know who. It does have a lot of similarities to the cases that I've covered, such as Lars Mittank and Emma Filipoff. Both claimed that people were after them, and both disappeared without a trace. If more comes out and we get some answers about what happened to Valerie Reyes, I'll try and keep you updated, but for now, keep an eye on the news. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. See you real soon as always. Mike out.